This is Microphone Check, hip hop from NPR Music. I'm Frannie Kelly.
Ali Shaheed Muhammad.
Oliver II.
Jeremiah J, Black Jungle Squad.
What up?
Thanks, guys. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having us.
I've been listening to you since RawHyde,
Tight.
which is a very, very different album. Wow, you got the tape.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
keep
That's
that.
amazing.
Keep the raw with us.
You got a tape player, Ollie?
Yes, I do. In the studio. Hooked up, ready to go.
Nice.
So I get like the inspiration for that is pretty obvious. But, you know, how did that idea come to you and why did you decide to partner to do it?
Well, me and Oliver have been making music together for like all our lives pretty much. You know, and we're a part of a larger collective called Black Jungle Squad.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, we like to just collab and come up with concepts. And that particular concept for Rawhide actually came from our grandmother. She watches like Westerns like all day and like
Religiously. It's crazy.
and you know, just thinking about the whole Western and the themes that you can pull from that and apply them to like nowadays. It's kind of we just wanted to, you know, make a tape just based off of that. And, explore the Western world in the modern age. You know.
Right.
Finding kind of like the parallels between that older world and like kind of what's going on now, you know, and how it's like real similar. You know, coming from the West Coast and coming from the Midwest, you know, it's like a lot of themes, you know, from that old time that I feel like are perpetuated in a new kind of way now. You know, so it's just kind of like breaking those barriers and just showing how it's just all one, you know.
Right. And it's not as though the Cowboys is the stand-in for like the gangster in a stereotypical way. It's more like the loner guy who like takes the road not less traveled or and that type of thing.
Yeah, like Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
You know, we just kind of wanted to be like those kind of characters, like, you know.
Exactly.
The hero, the Western heroes, and
just a desperado. I mean, you know, being a renegade doesn't necessarily have any negative connotation to it. It just means, you know, just being your own individual and just, you know, not settling or conforming rather to any particular ideologies. Being your own person, being yourself, you know. So that's where the whole desperado thing comes from.
Do you feel like those are characters? Are they like a part of you that's larger than life? Or, I mean, how does it, when you perform those songs, are you acting or are you being yourself?
It's kind of a mix of our own personal experience, I feel like, intertwined conceptually with the, you know, with the whole RawHyde concept. And just having themes that are relatable to, you know, to everybody that's kind of feeling like, you know, a renegade or a desperado or like at some kind of point where they just, you know, don't want to conform to any of this shit going on out here. Right? So it's like, I don't know.
yeah.
What you think?
No, yeah, it's definitely a mix of our own personal experiences and coming from the streets or, you know, areas that have a lot of crime or, you know, we were surrounded by that, but we're fortunate enough to be able to express and do music. And so, you know, that's why we kind of like to play with the concepts and merge these kind of worlds together and just, you know, be characters in the world that they're kind of like real characters, but they're also just like messages and, you know, just trying to show people you don't have to go out and be a cowboy and just kill people, but, you know, you can write about it, you know what I mean? Like,
you create your own world, you know, behind whatever it is you're envisioning, however you're perceiving the world at large, you know what I mean? That's really what it was. It was just our perception on that period in time, and not only like just that period, but how it just kind of relates to everything going on now, you know?
Okay.
So,
Yeah. But you've put that concept down a little bit, and the most recent project, correct me if I'm wrong, is The Kill Off?
Yeah,
Is
that's my new solo EP. Yeah, my debut solo EP. Yeah.
Okay. Although on Rap Game, Jeremiah is with you.
Yeah, I produced the whole tape for him. And again, Black Jungle Squad, we have a lot of solo artists, and then sometimes we come together and make albums together. You know, it's really just kind of taking it back to the days when, you know, there was a lot more crews in hip hop and like Native Tongues or Boogie Down Productions. It was just like just the vibe of just different people coming together and just making stuff. So yeah, but everything we do, we again try to just get a little conceptual with it, or, you know, just get a little deeper, you know, into the themes and just make hip hop something that's more listenable and approachable in a wider audience. You know what I mean?
Okay.
What do you think is missing right now?
Just the. I don't know. I mean, it's a lot of people making music in hip hop. I don't listen to like every new artist. I'm more into like the older shit. And I feel like because I'm into the older shit, like that's what I want to bring back is that energy of like just do you. You don't have to do it for a trend. You don't have to be on trying to get all these awards and all this stuff. It's just like take it back to the essence and just getting people to support, you know, just the real shit again. It's like
Exactly. I think
that's really what's missing, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's why we gravitate towards the older stuff so much because, and you were asking what I think was missing. I think it's the content. I think back in the day, the content was so much more profound and more, you know, driven just for us to raise the bar for the culture and like just uplift the culture, you know, as in general. And I feel like that's kind of always been our mission statement. And I feel like at the end of the day, that's kind of what separates us from all these other people that are trying to do it for reasons that really don't have anything to do with the music, you know. And we just want to make the music the focal point and you know, make that as great as we can make it, and then everything else is just everything else. You know.
What's the joyful part about making music for you?
Man, honestly, just being able to release all the frustrations and like, you know, whatever it is I'm going through personally, or I get really in my head sometimes like about certain things, and it's just like I can vent that through my music, you know, and channel certain ideas and broadcast them and know that it's going to be received by people that are like-minded and understand where I'm coming from. And so I think that's really what it is for me, is just that connection, being able to put something out and having people being able to connect with it on a real level. You know, that's what's gratifying for me.
So, just coming from, you know, culturally, like where you guys, the community and everything, you know, we in Chicago, there's at least what I have seen, you know, through media news, there's not a lot of joy. So, you know, how do you find, you know, a way to, I guess, reveal the sunlight in life surrounded with some of the stuff you surrounded?
I think me personally, like I kind of grew up, again, like surrounded by all that, but I made the choice to stay more creative and more kind of just in my head, and didn't like to go out, you know, to parties or, you know, but I still would interact with all this kind of crazy shit, and you know, from the gangsters to the hustlers to the just really smart kids, or really just musical people, creative people. So I was just really inspired by that growing up, and I was always doing art, visual art, and I went to art school for that, and it just kind of helped me channel a lot of energy and just put it into, you know, just, you know, working on myself constantly. Even now, you know, I'm just I just sometimes just tune out everything and just tune it into a new place, you know.
I agree. I think it's the foundations that we both had, like just as a family, and just always having music to be that outlet. And it was kind of like a safe zone too. Like it kind of kept us like out the street, and kind of kept us like away from like our homies that are out there just acting reckless and doing whatever they're doing, because they didn't really necessarily have that foundation to know that, you know, you could do music. It's okay. Like however you're feeling, write it down. Or, you know, if you want to say something a certain way, you could say that.
Yeah, just be honest with yourself too.
Yeah, and it's just, you know, just letting all those things out in the music, and just instead of just letting it out in a negative way, it's just like kind of reflecting all of this. Because Chicago, like you said, it's one of those cities that could it could kind of swallow you up, you know, as far as like all the negative stuff. Sometimes it's so much, it's so prevalent that you have to have some type of solid foundation to not, you know, let it just completely take you away from your zone and your plight. Really, you know.
Is moccasins about your mom?
Yeah, moccasins is actually it's about a couple different things. It's about partially it's about my mother and my father, their relationship, and another verse is kind of like more specifically about my mother. Yeah, so kind of goes back and forth. It's about several different things, but yeah.
Has she listened to it?
She has listened to it.
What did she say?
Oh, she liked it.
Yeah?
Yeah, she liked it. It's funny. It's another track on there called Red Roses, and I say, you know, you're a punk, I'm a don, can't relate. You ain't never smoked a blunt with your mom, like, you know. And it's like, that's a personal line, but I feel like it's also a real line, and it's not only a real line for me, but I'm sure it's a real line for other people. And I wanted people to know that. You know, it's like this is the generation we live in. It's a real generation. It's like real things going on out here, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, me and my mom smoke a blunt, and we'll have the illest conversation ever, and I get so much game and so much insight from that one conversation that it perpetuates in so many different areas. So yeah, that was fun. She did kind of, she was like, oh, okay, I see it. Yeah, it was a little different.
Yeah.
It was cool.
My mom's always like, don't you write about me.
Yeah, she told me that's like, you got the one pass this time, but next album I better not hear any references, you know.
Like, what percentage of your time do you guys, at this stage in your career, spend writing, recording, as compared to, like, the business stuff, you know, social media, interviews?
I mean, I've kind of just grown up, like, again, making art and music, like, most of the time, and, like, that's all I do is just make beats all day and just rap all day. And, I don't, you know, it's like, real talk, I don't have a job. It's like, I just, you know, spend so much time doing this, and I wholeheartedly believe in, you know, my own stuff and my squad and shit. So, you know, I just put a lot of time into that, and we all do the same thing. Like, all of us is just,
likewise,
like, to just make music all day. And we like to perform and stuff too, but I'm more of a kind of studio kind of dude. So.
And it's, you know, it's the music 24/7. I think the business only really comes into play after the music's done, and then it's just, you know, about getting it to the right people and you know, getting it as well received as we can, you know. So that's when the social networking comes into play and all that, you know, cool stuff. But the focal point's always just creating the music and just, you know, trying to raise the bar, trying to uplift the culture. That's where our heads are at most of the time, because the social networking only goes so far if you don't have the content. So we're just trying to develop the content constantly. That's just what it's all about.
And also make this money, so.
And make the money, yeah. The business is
gotta do that.
Just as equally as important, and we're learning that even more and more, you know, the further we get along.
Yeah.
But definitely it's important and something that we're trying to further and, you know, just continuously tap into. You know.
Well, just a word of advice from an old man. It wasn't, I think, at least for when we were coming up, the business aspect wasn't so prevalent. It was the same thing. It was just like, you know, we used to get into arguments with management because we'd stay in the studio and we were like, well, if you don't have anything to give people, then what's the point of like running out promoting and you don't have anything, and you want to make sure that what you have is really worth it. But in this age, in this time period where the labels aren't there, or, you know, to give you that sort of support, so then you are your own business, you're your own company, corporation, and so then you have to find a way, if you don't have the support system within your peers, to kind of like divide up the responsibilities. It's like, we're going to be the writing, production aspect of it, and we need this aspect of our team and our support to kind of like consistently stay on a regiment of addressing the social networking and the marketing and the promoting, and make sure that somebody's always being your cheerleader, and they just stick to a schedule. So, you know, I know you're probably trying to find a balance between the two.
We're definitely trying to build and build the team up and the support system up, because a lot of it has just been on our own, and we're still doing a lot that we could be a lot further, I see, but I still, you know, it's also a natural kind of progression on the music side, but yeah, you're totally right. Just on that,
and you're right. Like,
the
it's also,
support is definitely gonna help. just carry it and just make it more stable.
Absolutely, and it's designating those positions. You know, it's like we can't do everything on our own.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You can try to, but when you do, you know, it's like the guy that has all the hats. You know, it's like you can only wear one hat at a time. You know what I mean? And it's like we're juggling, you know, the marketing with the creativity, with like all this stuff, and so something's gonna give at some point. So it's important to appoint people for certain things, and to have people on the team that are there for certain specific reasons, and just to push it forward, just so we can focus more on just making the best stuff we can make. You know what I mean? And, you know, don't really have to get tangled up in like that aspect of it as much. You know.
Yeah.
But that's not exactly what you're talking about on Rap Game. When you say Rap Game is like the drug game.
Yeah.
What are you really trying to say with that song?
Well, you know, just coming off of RawHyde, and you know, originally we had put out RawHyde as a free mixtape, and it just kind of like grew and evolved into this bigger thing, you know, where people wanted to be a part of it and get behind it on a business level, and you know, going through certain things that we went through in that regard, it just kind of showed me the parallels between this industry and the drug game. You know, it's really it could be a cutthroat industry sometimes, and it's kind of like people just looking out for their own best interests rather than your own interests and what's good for you. So I think that was like the basic premise for it. It was just like, you know, Jay said it back in like when was that? It was like 96, Jay-Z said that. And, you know, it's like before I was just like, okay, it's just Jay saying like a Jay-Z thing, whatever. But I get it now because just having gone through it and seeing how a lot of these business people want to get behind it and take something that's yours and turn it into something that's theirs.
Record company people are shady.
Yeah.
Not only do they
time.
take it as
Word to
theirs,
tribe.
but then they don't, you know, like, they give you the least amount possible.
Exactly.
Right. They don't want to see your vision, you know, like come to fruition, you know.
Exactly.
Unless
And if
you
they
play
do,
by their rules,
yeah,
you
they
know?
want it to be under their accord and how they want it to be. And it's like, as the creator and the originators of it, it's like we want to maintain as much control as we can. You know?
Have there been, and outside of your experiences, other sort of resources that you've taken in to like give you sort of an education on how to kind of like, you know, move through the wilderness?
Yeah, definitely.
Like books or, you know, I don't know,
Well,
some mentors?
Yeah, definitely. You know, my father, he's a musician. Jay's father's a musician. They kind of, you know, they came from a similar kind of game, you know, where they're giving us a lot of advice on the do's and don'ts and things to look out for from people and things to, you know, we should want for ourselves, just off top, like things that we should demand to have. And this is all advice coming from them and just their experience that they've, you know, gotten and obtained like through their careers. So yeah, I'd say those are like those are the core people, as well as like, you know, just new people I'm meeting in the music, you know, that I'm collaborating with, like new people.
Like who?
Like John Wayne, that's my boy. I learned a lot from him. Like Flying Lotus, I learned a lot from him. Just a lot of my peers in this music stuff, you know, they have a lot of game and a lot of history in this, and they're always, you know, willing to share their knowledge on, you know, the business, and, you know, it's helpful. You know, it's very helpful to know, like, that knowledge, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah. So you guys Black Jungle Squad is a collective, is that the word
Word.
that you use? How many people are involved? About?
it's like 12 of us, I feel.
Yeah,
Like.
it's
Okay.
it's getting deeper.
And it's growing. It's growing, like, every day it's growing.
It's mainly people based from Chicago on the south side, and
You
my
got
cousin
cats
from California,
Right.
my
got
homie from
cats in
Boston.
Boston, yeah.
Okay. Do you ever worry at some point about it becoming like too many people and like unwieldy in some kind?
I mean, we're all family or like really close friends, and people that I grew up with and who got me into hip hop, you know, beats, and you know, eventually as you know we got older, we finally came back together and like, well, let's just do this shit together and you know support each other, and because we all have talent, you know, like we come from a musical family. My dad played with Miles Davis in the 80s.
What does he play?
Keyboard, piano. And he produced like 3 of his records. So it's just coming from that kind of background. I feel like, you know, I just want to do this, you know, just do music and just be an artist. And having that collective, you know, we're just trying to take it back to that kind of grassroots, just crew, you know, that is just all spreading that message and that keeping it raw, but, you know, staying on the business side too, and, you know,
I don't think we have to worry about it getting too big because we're already heavily selective with who's in the crew anyway. Like you said, it's close family and friends that we
it's like a mob. Forever. It's like the mafia. Yeah.
Is it like a huge group text? Like, how do you communicate with each other?
Well, I live in Chicago, and I'm by like my homie Trey and Beans and Beans the Poet, Kay and Bree. They're out there, so we all stay pretty close, and we all talk a lot on the phone or really just sending music to each other.
Okay.
But we're in the collective. We're all solo artists, and we all have certain, you know, collaborative projects going on. So, you know, we really just talk through the music and just keep inspiring each other and just keep making stuff together. You know?
Right. What does your dad play?
My dad's, he's a smooth jazz R&B singer. His name's Phil Perry. He's been doing it for about 30 years. So he's actually the guy that really made me want to do music. Just seeing him travel and doing everything, it was just like, I gotta do this. But it's tripped out because people see me and they're like, you're not singing like your dad? Nah. But
yeah, I was supposed to be in the jazz, but
right, yeah. We were both supposed to be in the jazz thing. Yeah, we grew up on jazz, both of us. Like, I mean, and I'm, you know, I think that's one of the things too that, you know, even in Jay's like realm, you know, I hear some stuff that he makes production wise. I'm just like, whoa, this is like next level stuff, you know. And I feel like it's only because of our foundation with music. It's like we were listening to so much other stuff besides hip hop before we actually got into hip hop, and I think that plays a part in everything that's being made now too, you know. So.
Well, your songs are they're pretty traditionally structured.
Yeah.
Like, you guys got choruses. That's not everywhere in hip hop right now. Is that intentional, or is that?
Yeah. It's well, you know, it's something we're trying to include more. Before, you know, we do a lot of songs where it was just verses, and we didn't, you know, we just wanted to get off what we wanted to get off, and, you know, not really focus too much on a sing along kind of thing. But, you know, just growing and trying to move forward, it's just, you know, you want to have songs like that people can connect with and that it sticks in their heads. And but it's not corny. It's just something that, you know, it's still raw, and it's just another aspect of the verses. So yeah, it's just something new that trying to include just to help broaden things a little bit more. You know, just make more complete type songs.
It really makes the song stand out. It's a smart move.
I'm glad that you notice. Trying to get the choruses down. Sure.
Yeah. What's the how will you know when you've achieved your goal?
If I could just keep doing this, you know, like 50 years later, and, you know, be able to support myself from it, or if I have a family, you know, and, you know, just have multiple hustles even, but you know, I don't really, you know, care about you know, all the plaques or the things like that. Just, you know, I don't measure success like that.
You're not trying to EGOT?
No, I don't need my ego like all big and shit, but I just want to just be able to provide and just, you know, support myself, and just keep doing this, like keep making music.
Keep doing this, and more importantly, keep control of this. Because that's what I've learned is the main priority is the control factor. You know, when we have our conglomerate and we're releasing things under our own terms and we're getting that same reaction, that's the measure of success to me. Like, is when, you know, we substantiate ourselves. We don't really, you know, necessarily need anybody else to substantiate us. And we're putting in that groundwork now for that to happen. So eventually, I know it's gonna happen. So yeah, I think that's what success is. That's where I want to be, definitely.
On the right path.
Yes, sir.
Well, good luck.
Thank you.
We will be listening. We've been listening.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming by and spending all this time with us.
Thank you
for
guys
having us.
Shout out to NPR.
Shout out to NPR all
Listening
day.
all day,
It's
for
so
real.
much love.